Alrighty guys, today's the day. Today's the day I finally decide to make a proper video with some actual content going on. Just not a bunch of random clips smacked together with some Nickelback or something in the background. I think I've done enough of that. Kinda gets boring after a while. So on to the topic of today's video. What makes the best fighter jet? Does being the fastest thing in the sky make you the best? Or how about the ability to outturn other jets? Does that make you any better? What about being the cheapest and easiest to operate and export? Well, in my opinion, all of these are useful in some way or another, but if the aircraft is not forgiving and easy to fly, all of those advantages could mean very little when push comes to shove. The aircraft with the best handling characteristics will almost always come out on top when flying at the edge of its performance envelope. The aircraft that you could throw around with an almost carefree attitude will inspire the most confidence in a real-world situation. This little bit of confidence and trust in the aircraft's predictability will give you an edge against an opponent with better performance but worse handling. So that's where the criteria for this jet was founded, and the absolute necessity for completely carefree handling even at the limits of its capabilities. The X-82 Chimera was designed from the start to be easy to fly, to give the pilot natural warnings of approach to the stall, and be able to recover from even the most violent stalls within 2 to 3 rotations. All of these aspects together gives you a lightweight, low-cost, highly agile, affordable, and formidable fighter for the developing world. This program was called HAF, or Highly Agile Light Fighter. So what actually is carefree handling? How can it be determined in fighter aircraft? I like to summarize carefree handling with something called free-to-roll zones. This is a determination NASA likes to use a lot when developing jets. They use this method to determine the AOA limits for both the AV-8, B, and the F-18. What it actually means is at what angle of attack can you make rolling moments at that will not result in a departure from controlled flight. NASA would say something along the lines of uncommanded lateral motions due to wing rock and/or abrupt wing stall due to undesirable aerodynamic effects on the wing under certain conditions. Or the best way to explain it, if me pull stick back, then me pull stick sideways, does me spin stall? If you answered yes, then you are not in the free-to-roll zone, or have an aircraft with very poor directional stability. And this is what it might look like if you happen to find yourself outside of the free-to-roll zone and still try and roll anyways. It's definitely not ideal in a combat situation. There are ways to expand the free-to-roll zones, thankfully. First, you can increase the pitch of the wingtips, or make the tips of the wings point down into the airflow relative to the body line, or the aircraft fuselage datum. This reduces the relative angle of attack on the wingtip, so you can pull more AOA from the fuselage datum, and the wings tips will still be pointing into the airflow more directly. You can also incorporate leading edge slats, dogtooth slats, as well as wing fences and vortex generators to increase the usable lift coefficient at high angles of attack. From there, you just need to test the upper limits that you can perform full 360-degree rolls without the outside wing tip stalling causing an uncommanded rolling moment. The last part of the carefree handling criteria was the ability to easily recover from even the most violent stalls, even if the fly-by-wire was for some reason inoperative. To develop this particular trait for the Chimera, a whole bunch of different test flights were conducted at different altitudes and different Mach numbers. And I tweaked the aerodynamics of the jet until it was able to recover by just centralizing the controls. and some of the most violent stalls, just a little bit of rudder input in the opposite direction of the spin was enough to recover completely. Now with some of the basic handling criteria out of the way, we can get into some of the more exciting stuff, the combat performance aspects.
Doesn't care about the money, she could be with anybody, ain't it funny how the honey wanted you all alone? You're ripping up the dance floor, honey. You shake your ass around for everyone. I love the way you dance with anybody and tease them all by sucking on your thumb. You're so much cooler when you never pull it out, 'cause you look so much cuter with something in your mouth. Crafty little lip tricks, tattoos on her left. If she's bending as you're spending, there's no end to it. So baby, come on. Dressed up like a princess, betting that her skin smells better than the scent of every flower in the desert. Come on. Pretty little lady with the pretty pink thong, and her sugar daddy hitting on her all night long. Doesn't care about the money, she could be with anybody, ain't it funny how the honey wanted you all alone? You're ripping up the dance floor, honey. You shake your...
Just a nice little Nickelback montage there. Couldn't resist. Well anyways, back to the topic of the video. I think that the ease of handling is the primary building block, or foundation if you will, for a great combat aircraft. Just as importantly is what can the aircraft bring to the table? What kind of weapons can it carry? How far can it carry them? And how accurately can it deliver them? I spent a good amount of time working on the specifications for the X-82. The best way to determine some of these specifications is to look at the aircraft's intended role. I wanted a multi-role, all-weather day or night strike fighter. That means it needed to be capable of close air support, combat air patrol, and deep strike missions. That means that it needs to be able to carry bombs a usable distance from the base, accurately put those bombs to the target, and then potentially either defend itself from enemy fighters or attack enemy fighters. What you can see on screen now is one of the many calibration tests I did while designing the bombing site. Unfortunately, I did not record the tests when designing the rocket and gun sites. The Chimera is fitted with a multi-mode gun sight / heads-up display that can compute and display sighting data for various weapons. The modes are bombs in a dive attack profile, guns, CCIP, rockets, CCIP, and air-to-air ranging. Yeah, I was going to try and record this live, but then I realized that I hadn't updated my video driver, so I didn't record my voice. Now I'm going to have to do this here, post-production. Super fun. I'm just going to do a quick rundown on how all the systems work. You can see there I'm playing with the gun sight. All that basically does is adjust the depression of the gun sight in mils. It's very similar to the way Revi sights work on real heads-up displays on fighter jets. You can adjust the depression of the sight, and that will give you different readings for what kind of dive angles and stuff you can use to attack with rockets and bombs. But my bomb sight automatically adjusts for speed and radar altitude, so you don't have to think about that too hard. Now we're just going to take off, bring the flaps up, get the sight ready. Look around, pretty views, build up some speed. There we go. Bringing it around the corner, set the sights to the rocket sight. Now we're going to commit some great war crimes, some great monstrous acts. We're going to blow up this little village over there. This little village next to the mountainside. Rockets away, you can see. Yep. Blowing up some nice houses. Yeah, it works pretty well. It's not 100% accurate because lights don't illuminate in this game, so you kind of have to just keep your head in the same position. But if you can do that, it's almost 100% accurate. Alright, here we go. Bringing it around the corner. 5G. Pulling into the light buffet. We're going to go back. We're going to do a slashing attack against that little hillside there. Right around the corner. In we go. There we go. Just put the thing on the thing and release the thing, it'll hit the thing. That's basically how it goes. And that's how the rocket sight works. Maximum damage. Bringing it right around the corner. This time we're going to use the bombs. We'll show you how the bomb sight works. So I'm just going to set that side out of the way. Toggle the bomb sight. You can see it pops up at the bottom there. This is probably the hardest one to use because it will automatically adjust for your radar altitude and your velocity. So all you have to do is set up the dive and release it within parameters right at the bottom there. It'll pretty much go exactly where you want. So pickle the bombs, pull up, there are the bombs, pretty much right where they're supposed to go. Beautiful. If only the bombs worked in this game. Sadly they don't yet. Alright, straining through some fictional high G to bring the nose back around. Now here's a cool part about this gun sight, is you can actually use the circle to range to different things. So you can use it to range to the size of these buildings, and you can shoot those buildings from different distances. The way I set that up is you need to imagine a 100-meter diameter target, like a 100-meter circle, and you want to close that circle around the 100 meters, and that will roughly give you the ranging you need to hit targets at certain distances away. As you can see here, I'm lining it up on those buildings, taking a few pop shots off. The range adjusted to that 100 meters. Pretty accurate, pretty effective. So we're going to haul it back up around. We're going to go for those same buildings on the slope that I rocketed earlier, those two left there. Alright, up we go. Bringing it round. Moderate buffet into heavy buffet. 4G in the corner. Alright, so all you gotta do is put the circle over the building, adjust the circle to the building, and then fire the gun. Target destroyed. Yeah, now just to show off the last bit that the sight can do. If you set it to the rockets, you can use it as sort of like a quasi glide slope eyeballing thing. If you just set it to the horizon, it should give you a very nice glide slope to come and to land. I'm just sort of going to show off that the jet handles nicely, that it lands very smoothly. Even if you just fly it into the deck, you could kind of land it like you would an F-18 on the carrier. Yeah, so just bring in the park and brake, or the air brake, speed brake out. Got the flaps down, got the landing gear down. And that 250 knot side to pop the spoilers up. There we go. Help generate some drag. Just keep the nose pointed up. And just fly it right into the deck. With a whole 5 meters a second of descent. Just fine. It does have some pretty short landing distances. It's quite stable too. You can leave the brakes on the whole way, the nose will just pop up like it does on the F-18 as well. Here it goes. Looks quite cool. Boom. Yeah, so there's a little rundown to finish with. So now what I'm going to do is a little bit of a comparison. I'm going to compare the X-82 to its nearest competitor, the F-5E. So what I've gone and done is a sustained minimum radius turn at 225 knots, in both maximum dry and maximum reheat performance, and then another one for 400 knots, which is roughly 0.6 Mach. Where you can see here, the F5E will only sustain about 4.5 G at 400 knots, and at 225 knots, it'll only sustain about 2.5 in full afterburner. Well, this is at 5,000 feet for the F5E, but my plane has been loaded up with much more fuel, so it weighs a lot more comparatively. Alright, so we're going to do some combat performance tests at 75% combat fuel weight. 75% limited fuel enablement. The fly-by-wire system will not allow you to exceed your 8G maximum. Don't really need that though. Slow it down a bit. Alright, so first what we're going to do is max military thrust sustained turn at 400 knots. Loadout is full guns, 2 aim-9 sidewinders, 75% fuel. Sustain about 4G at 400 knots with max dry power. Bring the speed down a bit. There we go. So with full burner engaged, at 400 knots, your sustained G is about 5.5. 2.65 G, 225 knots, engaging afterburner. So here at 225, we can sustain 3G, 2.9 to 3G. So after you've put all these aspects together, you're left with one incredibly capable jet. It's got amazing handling under all flight conditions. It will outclass its nearest market competitor, and it will get a large amount of ordnance, a long way from the base, and can put those ordnance on the target with high levels of accuracy. Who wouldn't want one? The Chimera is a perfect choice for all military dictators worldwide. If you want one, you can find it for download in Flyout's official Discord server. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.